Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, no matter where you're calling from. My name's Mike. I'm one of the co-founders here at Waybook.com, and it is my absolute pleasure to be hosting the May edition of the Waybook product updates. May! If you're anything like me, can you believe it's got to May already? Do you know what? Looking at what's gone out on Waybook, I can believe it. But every other aspect of my life, I can't believe we're here already. So I hope you've had a fantastic start to your May so far. We over at Waybook cannot wait to share with you what's been going out into your Waybook accounts. Some stuff you might have noticed already. Some stuff we might be sharing with you to dive deeper into your account and for you to find some of those hidden gems. And some stuff we're just going to tease to what's coming into an account near you very, very soon. I know more people are still piling into this webinar. I can see you, but it's great to see some familiar names, some not so familiar names. So welcome if you are new to the Waybook family. And I'm really pleased to see so many of you join us in the last month and 2 months, actually. The activity on Waybook sites has been really insane. So we're really, really excited to see so many more of you get your business on the same page with Waybook. So without further ado, let's dive in to see what we're going to cover in today's session. So in the May updates, what we will cover is relative due dates. It's an exciting one. It really has, in my opinion, been one of the missing pieces in Waybook. So I'm really looking forward to getting that in and well, it's in already, so sharing it with you. Also, we're going to be sharing with you short codes or short links and QR codes. Then we're going to be looking at a beta of document owners. So the reason why you come to this product webinar is because you get to see what's out, but not fully out. And if you like, you can ask us, and of course, we'll put it and give it access to you on your account right now. We're also just reiterating Waybook Commands and showing an update on test reports as well. So without further ado, let's jump into our first section. And as we do, I just want to introduce you to who else is around and about on today's call. So of course, it is the one, it is the only, it's the fabulous Elle here who heads our customer success team. Elle is in the background, manning the chat and answering any thoughts or questions you have up on the Q&A. So please do keep them coming. And of course, you can always just chat to us in the chat, or if you've got something that you'd like me to answer live, feel free to put that in the Q&A as well. So let's jump into what relative due dates actually are. The eagle-eyed amongst you will know that due dates have been launched on Waybook in the last kind of 3, 4, maybe even 5 months. And this gives you the ability to set a date for when a document should be completed. Now, that has been an amazing feature. If you add in a new SOP, if you add in a new activity, if you add in a new core process, policy, or procedure that you want your team to know about, you set a date and everybody is nudged and gently reminded until they complete that up until that due date. But I hear you cry. What happens if people join at different dates? And what if you want to share different people's experience in a different way? Well, I would like to introduce to you relative due dates. Now, the reason why relative due dates exist is essentially enabling you to create more of a custom onboarding experience and a training experience for both your new and your existing hires. What it actually is designed to do is to avoid the overwhelm and also enable you to create a pace of training as you're adding people in. Now, what this actually is, and many of you might already understand it from the title of it, but a relative due date is essentially a completion date, a due date, a deadline, whatever you want to call it, that is based on an individual user's access to that document rather than a fixed date in time. I will show you what that looks like because I fear I might have made it sound more complicated than what it actually is. But in essence, it means that you can actually set a relative due date both on a document or actually within a flow, and that due date is only activated or triggered once that user has access to it. Now, this is available in all of your accounts, and you can access this on the settings pages of both your documents or your flows, and let's have a quick look at how you can do that. So jumping into my trusty Studio 6 Waybook, which many of you would have seen if you are regular tuners into the Waybook product updates. Now we can firstly head over into edit mode. And if I jump into any of the documents and go over into settings, what I'm able to do is I'm able to turn on due dates. Now, due dates isn't a new thing. As I said, you've always been able to say, right, this is a new policy, this is a new procedure. We want everybody to go through it by the 10th of August. And now if I just go back into that document as a reader, you'll be able to see that the due date on that is 3 months. It says when that is. And if I go to my dashboard, you'll also see that due date. And because it's the only document with a due date in my account, it will bring it up to the top. It will, of course, order it dependent on when people have access to that what other documents they have dates on. But if we just go back into that edit mode and into the settings, you'll notice that as well as the specific due date, we can also have a relative due date. And the relative due date is, as it says here, how long the member has to complete that document once they've been given access to it. So, of course, this can be a series of days, this can be months, this can be years. And essentially, it means that if we were to say once a user has access to this document, we want them to be able to complete that within, I don't know, let's say within 14 days, that due date will be set. And then again, if I toggle back over into my read mode, you can see that I have that due date in that same way. Now, the core thing to remember here is that this is set from when the user gets access to that document. So because I've already got access to that document, the due date would have already passed, which means that, of course, I can go through and complete. Although in most cases, your users would have already have completed the documents that they already had access to. Now, this also means that if I was to be entirely removed from that document and don't have access in any form and given access again, then that relative due date will have reset from that point of initial access. The other core thing to remember here is that actually a user will get access to this once they have been given the permissions to access that content. So once you add them into your Waybook and put them in the appropriate groups, or actually once you put somebody into a group, you know, say if you're changing permissions or they're changing their role internally. Now, as I mentioned, you can access the relative due dates both on the document settings, as we are here, but this also forms a fundamental part of flows. Now, if I go into the flows setting here, I'm able to create a new flow. For those of you who might have missed this, a flow is a way of you creating a custom pathway through the content within your Waybook, which supersedes the navigation on the left-hand side. For your users, this basically means that they will be able to always see the content, of course, only that they have access to on the left-hand side. But if we're creating a sales onboarding experience, we don't want them to go through the welcome documents, the office and admin, the FAQs, the marketing handbook. We want them to go through it in the order that's best for them to get onboarded and up to date. So here you can see we want them to do just the background, company history, then lead gen, then the team, then proposals, then sales objections. And of course, you can add your individual documents or whole subjects in that order. Once we've created that, we can, of course, give the right people access to that. But crucially and relevant to the due dates, if we enable deadlines in here, it will actually put a deadline against all of those documents. Now, we can see it's automatically just set 1 month. So as soon as anybody has access to that 1 month, they will be able to, they would actually have the individual due dates against all of those documents. But for example, let's say we want this to be 2 days. So we want them to go through this on their first day. And actually we want to make all of the dates be after this document 2 days. You just click that, it does that. So let's also say we only actually want them to go through these 4 documents on the 2 days. Then actually day 4 and onwards, we want them to create proposals, the sales objections, contracting. And again, we can say anything after that document, we can have access to that. This also means that, say, if we want to say, want them to do that on their first day, you can actually push that plus button and create that up there. So here you'll be able to create a custom pathway with the dates attached to it, specifically dependent on when they get access to that document. So once again, like everything in Waybook, you set up your content once, you set up your group and your flows once, and then any new member that's added into a group that has access to that flow or is added to that flow specifically will then have the content on the left-hand side. Sorry, once I activate that flow, they'll have access on the left-hand side, and then they'll be able to go through that in the order that we have decided them to go through it. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is relative due dates. I have over-explained it here, so I hope you can see that I might have made it sound a little bit more complex than what it needs to be, but actually that's just so we can kind of see that in all the different forms of that core knowledge and information. So heading back into our updates here, the other core thing that we'd love to share with you today is this concept of short links and QR codes. Now, many of you actually use various different ways of sharing your knowledge and information within your Waybook to other people. Now, this both can be sharing internal links and also sharing the publicly viewable links, both of a document and, if you're a pro user, of a subject on your Waybook. But it has been noted that actually some of those links aren't massively aesthetically pleasing. And that's because actually the links are pretty long with sharing what your Waybook is, what the individual document is, the subject, the step, and also the position on that step as well. So one of the core things that we were looking to do here is firstly to improve the aesthetic of those shared links, but also we had some really interesting use cases where people wanted to offer the prompt for that document in an offline setting. So one of the great examples here was actually where a farm in Oregon that was using Waybook wanted to have a document that shared the perfect mix of their feedstock for that particular plant in that particular area, and actually just wanted a quick access for their team to know what feedstock they should be using for that plant. Now, of course, you can print out and export that document as a PDF and have it there, but if you update and change that throughout the seasons, then obviously you have to physically change it. Whereas now within Waybook, what you can do is firstly share links in a really short and beautiful format, or you can actually auto-generate a QR code. So that QR code can be printed out and always linked back to the right Waybook document that you're looking for. Now, I'll show you how to create this again, but once again, this is something that's available in all of your accounts, and this slightly advanced setting is also available within your document settings. So if I head over now back into, again, in edit mode, into an individual document and into the settings, I'll just turn off due dates on that document for now. And you'll see here that I have the option to enable public sharing or disable it. If I enable that public sharing, and it's worth noting that everything is disabled, private, confidential, secured by default, it's only if you choose to enable that public sharing, you'll see that we now have a short code for that document, which I can just kind of copy that information there. Of course, share that short link to people on whatever kind of messenger format you like, and it will open up that public sharing of that document in that same consistent format. Or, of course, we can generate that QR code. Now, that QR code will be generated specifically for that shared document, and you can download that code and actually then have that in a branded format way. And I'm actually just going to share with you what that format looks like. So this is lightly branded in terms of the brand of your business, the name, the brand colors, and also what that document is with an image of that as well. So you can either cut just that QR code out, or you can actually print that QR code as it is with the light branding to make sure that that can be stuck in any format, in any location, for people to then scan it and get quick access to that knowledge or information. So hopefully that means that we're shortening that gap between your team and your wider stakeholders and that knowledge that you're looking to share in the most clear and consistent way. So once again, let's head on back over. That's our second feature which we're sharing with you today. Let's go into the third one. Now, the third feature that I'm really excited to share with you today is what we're calling document owners. Now, document owners has been a conversation in our Waybook team and with many of our Waybook customers for quite a long time. And we're really excited to release this in a way that it fundamentally shares quite a purpose now, but it's going to continue to grow and adapt over the weeks and months. And we're really excited to get your thoughts and feedback as you get that in your Waybook account. So the reason why this exists is because often we hear within organizations that you have somebody who is responsible for a core piece of knowledge, an SOP, a procedure, a policy, whatever that may be. And sometimes the person who's responsible for that changes over a period of time. And as an admin or as a knowledge owner, it's good to be able to see who is responsible for what different information. Is also really valuable for our readers, various different people across the team, to actually know who that initial port of contact is. So, if they do have any additional questions, or if they actually wanted to speak to that point of contact, they're able to identify who that person is and contact them really effectively as well. So what that actually is it's quite a simple ability for you to select a document owner on a document basis. And then also you're able to display that document owner on the documents for your reader view. Now, I'm going to show you that very shortly, but once again, that is actually in beta. So if you wanted access to that, please do let us know and we'll get it toggled on to your account immediately. And also, once it is toggled onto your account, it's accessible in all of the document settings. Now, if you are watching this on the replay on YouTube or any other formats, just have a little look, because chances are, if you're watching this within a week after this has been recorded, it's probably already in your account. Now, the other thing is that we have updates to this feature coming very, very, very soon. This is on a small roadmap of features which are coming, and I'll actually give you a sneak peek of what that will look like as we continue to grow and adapt. So again, I'm heading back into the edit mode of any of our documents and, believe it or not, into this settings panel. So in that settings, this is where we can have due dates, verifiers, PDF, download, whatever you want. And you'll also see the addition of document owners. Now, on this document owner, it will, whoever turns it on will automatically be set as that document owner. But of course, we can then add more people and remove ourselves. Now, when you're adding somebody in, it actually gives you the ability to add multiple document owners. So say, for example, we have the brand guidelines document. I'm actually going to add in the designer, I'm going to add in the marketing manager, and I'm going to add in perhaps the marketing director. So for the sake of that, let's say that's Elle, and that's also I'm already in there, and we're going to add in Luke in there as well. So these are the 3 people that we want to be the document owners. And if I now go back into that content and toggle off into editor mode, you'll be able to see that you can see the friendly faces of those people who are the document owners. This is exactly how your readers would see it. Now, they're also able to click on that icon, and you'll see that there will be a new edition of these documents coming out. And actually, on all of the kind of more information, or this information panel, you'll see an increasing amount of knowledge, information, and content for you from an admin side, and also for your readers. So of course, we can see when this was last published, which is an easy way for to actually kind of create that share information and grab the share links we've seen previously. And also we can look at those 3 document owners that we've set. Now, what is going to change with this over the coming weeks and months is this will actually be combined with our document validators, previously called verifiers. And the reason why this is going to be combined is because, for those of you who aren't familiar, the document validators, which is a pro feature, gives you the ability to select just one person who is accountable for confirming that that knowledge is up to date periodically or on a specific time. So say, for example, and I'll make myself responsible or accountable here, I am the member, I'm one of the documents, but I am the member who actually needs to confirm that this document is up to date. So you'll see as I turn on up here, we'll see that this document is unverified because that document hasn't yet been verified. So because I'm the person who's accountable for doing that, I have the option of marking that as verified, which will then confirm to all of the readers that this is a verified document that will then reset and notify me as the person who has the validate permission on that periodic time, whatever you set. Now, the things that are going to change is that you will be able to set those together and actually manage the ownership. So from a document owner, the validators and the various statuses from a document management view, which is currently in design and development. If you really find this interesting and important, so do we. We know a lot of people are using this for ISO compliance and actually really just increasing the quality of management of your documents. If you'd like to get a bit of an insight into the direction that's taken, and of course, give your thoughts and opinions, please do let us know, because we're always excited to see how what we're working on works in your businesses, and of course, how that can be improved. So that is your document owners. As I mentioned, it is in beta, so please do let us know if you would like to get your early access hands onto that. And two last things that I just wanted to show you in terms of things that have been updated, not necessarily brand new in this last month. We have the Waybook Command Center. Now, Waybook Commands is essentially a really quick way for you to minimize the time and energy and increase the efficiency when navigating your Waybook and creating content. What it actually is a really quick access for all of the commands that you're looking to access within your Waybook. The way you can access that is by using Command K, the short code Command K on a Mac, or of course you can use Control K if you're on a PC. And what that will do is enter or open this different box here, and I'll just jump over back into that account. So if I'm pushing Command and K here, you'll see that it will create a command center where I'm able to, let's say, invite. And I can invite that new user. I can do lots of different, create new documents, create new subjects, or actually if I just search for something that isn't a command, it will then default to the search on that Waybook account as well. So that's a really good way of you actually just not sure where you want to go within your Waybook. Just Command K and ask what you want to do. And we're continuously adding more commands into that center. So if you're trying to quick access something that isn't in the command center, let us know and we'll get it in there. So the final thing I would love to share with you today is the slight update and reintroduction of test reports. So many of you will know that we're not just sharing that knowledge with our team in a really clear and consistent way. We're also asking them questions, assessing their knowledge, or actually using that to confirm their understanding. Now, the reason why this is so important to us is firstly, you can gather more insights on those test results, but also it means that you're able to use this for agreeing to the values, accepting various different conditions directly within your Waybook. Now, what has changed is we've got an update to the reports of those tests. And again, this is available in all of your accounts, and you can access that both in the test creation on a document basis and also via reports. So let me just show you briefly in how to create that. So for those of you who haven't yet created any tests in your account, it's as easy as adding a step. So instead of clicking new step, you can literally click new test, and that will enable us to create a new test and of course add a subset of questions that we want to ask for that test. So this can be, do you agree to the values? This might be a yes or a no, or of course it can be core knowledge or information. So how do we handle X sales objection? And you can kind of give you different options, add videos, whatever, add images, whatever you want within there, and even have multiple answers for the same question. Now, once you've created that, you can actually start to customize the tests, choosing the pass rates, whether or not they have to complete the test in order to go through. If you show all of them in the same order, a small subset of that to different users, and whatever settings you choose to create, once you publish that test, it will then go through to all of your users for them to be able to go through and update that. Now, if we head over into reports, you'll see, or actually if I go into reader mode, you'll be able to see that as a reader, I'm able to actually navigate through this in a really clear and consistent way. So yes, I'm going through the knowledge, I'm reading, I'm reviewing, I'm marking as complete. But as I mark as complete, I can also answer those questions which we've set ourselves, and it will then pass or fail those questions, ask us to retake it depending on the settings that you've taken. Now, of course, you want to know what people are and aren't doing. So if you head over into reports, firstly, you can decide whether or not you want to look at a specific test. So say there's a test that you've given to a subset of people. Now we can actually decide exactly what test we're looking. So we can look at that knowledge review test, and we can actually break that down by members and say how many of these people have or haven't attempted it, how many of them have passed it, and what is the score that they've received in that test. Now, also, if you want to dive into an individual user, we might say here that Elle has done a great job. Let's actually just look at that individual user and look at all of the tests that she's been given. And we can see here that Elle has 100% passed the communication challenge, but she's not yet done the office security, or she has done the office security acceptance, but she's not done the knowledge review or the end of document test or whatever you've chosen to name those tests. If you want to jump in a little bit more, you can see the document that they're in, or of course you can jump directly into that test and go a little bit more granular. So this is a really great way for you to actually not just know who has access to what, who has seen what information, but actually who understands and subscribes to the core principles, knowledge and insights that you're sharing with your team. So this brings us very much to the end of today's session. I do welcome you to have any thoughts or questions. I've kept my eye on the chat and the Q&A, and I know Elle has answered a few questions as they've come up. But as I'm just keeping an eye on those chats and the Q&A, I just wanted to give you a brief insight, as you know I like to do every week or every month, in terms of what we're currently working on and what you can expect coming into your account over the next month. Now, of course, this is the era of AI, and we have lots of AI improvements and also new releases coming soon. For those of you who haven't yet had a chance to play with Waybook AI, jump in and have a go now. You can actually create policies, procedures, SOPs, outlines, whatever you need within your account using Waybook AI. That is becoming faster, that is becoming better, and soon you'll be able to do a lot more with AI within Waybook. We also have the document management view. This is what I mentioned earlier in terms of being able to look at all of your documents. Who are the owners? Who are the validators? What status are they at? When were they last produced? What version are they on? And that's a great way of you, in a snapshot, being able to look at the health of all of your documents, as well as the knowledge within that. We have a lot more features in the works when it comes to collaboration. So we know that no one person truly owns all the knowledge within your business. So actually, we're increasing the ability for you to work together as a team to create that culture of iteration around the knowledge and kind of how you iterate and grow the business within the team. And then finally, the other thing that I'm very excited about and will be coming in the next weeks, maybe month, is version history and revision improvements. So we know for various ISO compliance and lots of work that many of you do, you need to have a specific version number of a document to see who has and hasn't completed it, when that was created, and what the changes between those versions are. We have quite an in-depth feature coming out very, very soon that will enable you to manage your versions really effectively within your Waybook, and also a review of your revision improvements. Now, for those of you who actually are just looking to see how your documents have changed over time, please do remember that at any time you can click onto edit, you can go into your icon and more icon and look at the history view, and you're able to look at any of the comparisons between what a document was, what has changed over that time, and actually revert back to any previous version that you would like. And then, of course, you can disseminate that to your team and update them as necessary. So that already exists within Waybook. What we are working on is the next version of that to give you more access, more control, and more visibility of those versions as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I would like to thank you once again, not just for being on the product update today, but also for choosing Waybook to help systematize your business, get your business on the same page, and enjoy some smooth scaling. Once again, I'm Mike Bander. I'm one of the co-founders here at Waybook. It's always a pleasure to speak with you. If there's anything you think we can do to support or help you get your business on the same page anymore, please do let me or any of the team know, because we're always excited to speak with you and help you continue to do the amazing work that you do. Thank you so much. This is it for May, and I cannot wait to see you in June. Until then, have a great one, and I look forward to speaking to you very soon. Bye-bye now.